Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deji Morgan. I work as a career coach at the Employment and Employer Services. And part of the services we provide include resume and interviewing assistance. So the question is, if someone were to ask you, what is the purpose of job interview? The answer is simple. The answer is to present yourself in a way that helps you get the job. How do you do that? That's exactly what we're trying to talk about today in this presentation. What are the goals of you attending an interview? The goal for attending an interview is just to sell your experience, to sell your skills, to show enthusiasm and demonstrate fit into the culture, the corporate culture, or the company you're trying to get into. You want to show that you are a good fit and you have value for the company. And also, on the other hand, it's also for you to evaluate if this company you're trying to do interview with is a good match for you. So we will talk about the impressive candidates. What's the most impressive, you know, things you can do as a candidate if you're trying to interview with a company. You need to do your research about the company you're trying to do the interview with, and there are so many ways of doing that. You can do company website and research the company's value, events, missions. You can use Facebook to find out the kind of posts and videos they uploaded. You can check LinkedIn to find out the people that you're interviewing with. I think company website is the best place to go because the company website will tell you all about the company. Once you've done your research, it will provide you with information that would help you, answer some questions during your interview. So the tips that make best impression. When you're going for an interview, you make sure that your resume is ready. You have a copy of your resume. You have the copy of the job advertisement. When you get into the interview, you want to make sure that you stand up straight, you smile. You want to show that you're really interested in the company, and that's why you are attending the interview. Make sure you avoid long-winded answers. And when the interview is about to end, make a closing argument of why you attended the interview. After the interview is done, see if you can schedule an appointment with the interviewer about a follow-up. I want you to understand that 5% of employers decide in an interview whether you're going to come on board or not. So we'll talk briefly about the best practices, shortly before or a day before you attend the interview. You want to make sure that you get a good night rest, the night before the interview. You want to make sure you arrive at the interview venue no more than 10 minutes early. You don't want to get there 45 minutes early. 10 minutes is okay. And make sure you dress appropriately for the interview. One important thing we want to talk about is your first impression and your body language. When you get into an interview, before you even speak, the impression you gave out is very, very important. And that will give the interviewer if you're interested or not, if they're going to listen to you or not, what to wear. Regardless of any job interview you're going to, make sure you dress professionally. Make sure your grooming is all right. Make sure you're presentable. It doesn't matter if you're going for a Walmart interview or you're going for a high-powered employment interview, dress professionally. So when you meet the interviewer, you greet the interviewer by name, you state your name, and you state the reason why you're here. And have a firm handshake, make eye contact, smile, be confident, and show that you really want to be here. Also, we need to be very careful of our body language. And there are some things that we don't want to do when we're in an interview. The body language says a lot about you. For example, you need to make an eye contact to show that you're interested. You need to smile to show that you're happy to be here. Stop playing or getting distracted while you're in an interview. Have a good posture, sit upright. Don't fidget too much. Don't cross your hands over your chest because that might imply that you're being defensive. You don't need to play with your hair or your face. It might also show distractions. Give a firm handshake and do not use a lot of hand gestures and a lot of facial expressions. Make sure your handshake is firm and strong. Now, we're going to talk about several questions and some of the communication that happened during the interview. There's something called mirroring events and mirroring method. If you're having an interview with someone, you want to show that you're interested. You want to show that you're present. You want to mirror the body language of the interviewer. If the interviewer is sitting up front, moving towards you, it shows that he's ready for the interview. You can also do the same. Sit upright, show that you're interested. Be confident about your abilities, discuss about your abilities, and show rapport with the interviewer. Make your interviewer comfortable, just like they will make you comfortable. And we get these questions a lot. A lot of us have been in interview sessions, and they keep asking everybody, almost everybody, the same question. Tell me about yourself, or why should we hire you? The easiest way to talk about why should we hire you is just you describing a little bit about your background, more about your skills, and discuss how you can be a value to the company you are interested in. Also, there's this method called the CAR method. This is about organizing how you answer the questions about how or why. If someone asks you, tell me about yourself, you want to give a brief background information about yourself. You want to talk about action steps. If they ask you about if you had been in a situation, challenging situations, how did you manage to take care of the challenges? You can talk about action steps you took and also what the results were. Also, there are questions called behavioral styles interview questions. These questions are all about what you do in the difficult situations and how you resolve the challenges. The answers you need is just what we discussed earlier. It's about you discussing briefly what the challenges are or what the challenges were, the steps you took to take care of the challenges, and what the results were. So we're going to talk about some examples here. If they ask you, have you ever made a mistake? How did you handle it? You use the same process we discussed earlier. Talk about the mistake you made. Talk about the steps you took to rectify the mistake and what were the results. So these are some of the tips when answering interview questions. Watch your timing. Do not go into long-winded explanation answering questions. Keep your energy high. Don't say anything negative about your past employers. Interview is also a two-way conversation. Even though you're the person being interviewed, it doesn't mean you cannot ask questions. You can ask questions. If a question being asked of you is not clear, you can ask the interviewer to say, please, can you repeat the question? And they will. Sometimes we can be anxious when we're having an interview. But all we need to do sometimes, and most of the time, is to be calm. We can be in a situation where the questions, we We might get flustered, but we need to remain calm. Some questions sound like they're going in one direction but end up in another direction. What skills do you have? How do you deal with upset customers? How many outbound calls were you making? At the end of the day, you want to be precise, you want to be concise, you don't want to go into long-winded explanation. Closing the interview on a powerful note. Before you get to an interview, you must have done your research about the company. During your research, you must have prepared some questions. Make sure the questions you have is not more than one or two. And you can ask the question of the interviewer about their company. Once the interview is done, thank the interviewer, show appreciation of being there, and ask for their business cards. But make sure they do have their business cards on hand. Do not ask for the business cards if they don't have business cards, because you don't want to embarrass the interviewer. So these are some of the questions you can ask an employer. My favorite ones will be, how would you describe your company culture? What skills will make new hires successful in your company? All these questions are very good, but it depends on who you are and what you want to know. But by asking questions like what skills will make a new hire successful in your role, shows that you're really interested in working for the company. If you ask a question that says, how would you describe your company culture? It also shows that you really have interest of being part of this company. If you have any question, now this is the time to ask the question. Once you finish asking your questions, you want to thank the interviewer for taking time and giving you the opportunity for the interview. Once the interview is done, give a handshake, a very firm handshake, thank them for the interview, and explain to them briefly why you're the best candidate for the job. Thank you.